Rintinsi.
Victory at us, Starfighters. My name is Carlin Jones, and this is a Starfighter full episode review. And today we are starting the second season of Love Life. Now, season one was, and all in all, it was like, the show was like, it was, parts of it was good, some parts of it was like, what's really happening is kind of bad, and all that stuff. But what I really love about this show is that the conversations you can have with someone else while you're watching it, or just spark up a conversation with anybody, and just talk about the show. That's where this show is kind of golden for me. I can't really say from season one that I like the characters per se. I think a lot of the characters are a little bit boring. I thought some of the story arcs too were kind of whatever, but again, it's the situation that these characters find themselves in, and then how you can relate to that and have conversations about these characters and the predicaments they find themselves in, which makes this show so gold, so gold. So yeah, season two, and it couldn't come at a better time because I'm actually planning an analysis video about Love Life. It's about Love Life and a Deuce, which I'll talk more about that later when the episode starts. But yeah, so this is season two, episode one. The episode is called Mia Hines. This episode is 34 minutes and 32 seconds. And we're just going to get right into it. I mean, if you want to watch this show with me, you can watch it on HBO Max because it is a HBO original. So yeah, so let's get started. And we're going to start this episode in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Barely a second delay, like ever so barely. Okay. I honestly thought they would have gotten rid of the narration for this show. It doesn't work for it, in my opinion. Did anyone who loved season one thought like, oh, the narration adds so much to the to the story? It really just doesn't. And look, there's Darby, which I'm excited for this season because I heard it's really about a black character and just about him trying to find love. So should be fun. Oh, this is Keith David who's doing the narration. Now I remember that voice, and I did remember looking him up like a few months ago. I was like, he's in Love Life too. Okay, so clearly he's gonna be with someone called Mina Hines, and it's not gonna work out. Which, by the way, Mina Hines, that sounds like somebody I know. I don't think I'm supposed to read this. So annoying, but whatever, fine. Okay. Marcus Watkins. All right, let's see what kind of a protagonist he's gonna be. I always was live very iffy about the writing in season one. I don't know. I just don't. I just feel like the show would be a little bit better because ultimately the show is written. That's for season one was written for women, right? But it was written by a guy and a guy who has experience. Now, granted, love is a very universal thing. With people go through it in different and most situations and all that. But I feel like we would have connected more if we would have had like a female writer really writing these stories to get those little details that only women can relate to. That's just me though. Love is in the air. I hate BuzzFeed. It's all like cringe, cringe. What am I trying to say? Cringe thumbnails, clickbaits. That's all BuzzFeed is. Just clickbaits. I actually have a friend who works for BuzzFeed. For what? Okay. No, do it. Well, I'm sure it's copyrighted. So yeah, go for it. I know that's a formal way of communication, but I don't think I've ever asked for a woman for her email. I'm really bad at checking my own email. All right, you take care of yourself. Am I the only one that didn't feel a spark between them? Like I understand, like okay, yeah, she's attractive. I'll take my shot or whatever, but I'm not like if she don't email me or if I email her and she doesn't get back to me, I'm not like pressed on that. There was really nothing there. Wait, what? Nick. Magnus. Wait, is this? Wait a second. Okay, anyone who's seen season one has to be confused by now. Okay, this has to be in. This is a prequel. Is this a prequel? Because clearly this doesn't work with Darby and Magnus. I guess it's supposed to be like a prequel, and in the midst of it, because I did hear Anna Kendrick's gonna be in the show, just not a main person. So I guess he's gonna like be there for her when the marriage fails and all that stuff, and then he's getting his own shit together. I guess that's weird. Just leave Darby alone. Leave those characters alone. Focus on new characters. It's like they want to be Marvel. Man, he ain't lying. Barely knows her. Wait. What? So what's their situation here? Why do I have a feeling they're not a couple, but they do this? I think they're in a call it? What do people call it nowadays? A situationship. A situationship. Yeah, yeah. I can play my podcast. All right, I will show you my Zootopia podcast because I just watched that movie for the first time. Me and my really, really good best friend Noah. By the way, Nora is also going to be on my other episode review of One Tree Hill. She's like a fanatic of that show, and I watched it for the first time with her. With the blunt, though. PDF. You better have that shit copyrighted, bro. That shit's no joke. Yo, what up? No. Okay. I'm not buying this either. I'm not buying this feeling. You just met this girl. You just met her. Now, that's not to say you can't kind of, gush over someone you just met that's attractive and whatnot, but you literally spent less than 5 minutes with her. I don't know. I feel like a black man in New York in his 30s would have a little bit more, I don't know, like a, who responds to emails that fast? Unless this is his character, right? Unless he like overcommits on everything and he's super clingy as a person. I guess we'll see. We'll find out. But that seems out of character. Or well, I can't say that because I don't know his character. There's no way. There's no way. Anyone who's listening to this, would you really trip out over that? Which is fine. Gotta get people reading somehow. Gotta have a tagline, man. Someone asks you what it's about, be able to sell it to them in a sentence. All right, man. What up? Word. Maybe you don't know what a fucking editor is for. At this point, you can't. You just got to be blunt with this guy. Barack? What? Bro, first off, Hollywood always needs a nigga. That's the first thing you got to know, all right? That's what you're trying to say, but you're not articulating yourself correctly. Second things first, you really think people would look at me as a Barack with this type of haircut, this type of beard? dude. Word. Listen, just tell him you got a solid book idea and I want to help it push through. I want more black authors out there. If you ain't down with that, you can get out the office. Marcus Watkins. I'm not excited by the dialogue in this season thus far. Marcus Watkins, the NASA Management Office Director? Really? Bro. You crazy. Oh wait, no, Marcus Watkins is the guy's name. But that's also never mind. Very profound. All right, so this is a little bit of a character complex that's going on right here for this protagonist to feel what's the word I'm looking for? To feel clearly there's some type of insecurity happening in his life, right? The insecure first off, I believe this is his girlfriend, this girl right here, unless okay. Yeah, there's a huge complex issue going on with him. And it must be really severe in a black man in his 30s to ask this question. And growing up, you should have already been dealt this problem. Right? I'm not seeing how people are getting Obama. Really? Okay, if I had to guess, I would call him Donald Glover, honestly. He seemed like the creative type, the one that's trying to push black people forward and still be his own man, kind of thing. That's just me just looking at him. Okay. Yeah, what was his name? The Reading Rainbow guy. Oh shit, that's what's his name from Star Trek? It's disrespectful. That's the harm in it. Okay, so there's already insecurities happening right now. That, bro, he's clearly having a rough day. There's a lot to dissect with this, and this is why I love this show. There's so many conversations you can have from it. Although I just don't feel like it's executed. It's never executed the right way. So you are in a relationship. So this is a relationship. Okay. So first things first. Infidelity in relationships, marriage or whatever. Infidelity in relationships. A human being has to know, right? No human being is perfect, right? People make mistakes. People are not. Uh, People yearn for, that's the word I'm trying to use. People yearn for whatever isn't in their life and whatever they're feeling incomplete of. So I feel like that was the same thing I just said. Basically what I'm trying to say is basically anyone who commits infidelity has a lot of insecurity issues that are subconscious to them, right? So clearly, from what we can see here, looking at Marcus and his relationship with, I forgot what the white girl's name was, but it doesn't seem like she's there a lot, right? I know that's always a famous excuse, but that's not the one I'm trying to make. It seems like she's not there, and from the fact that she's not there, certain conversations can't be had. Whether it's joking about something, talking about movies, hobbies, maybe cooking, anything like that, right? And from that point on, it's really just now you're just searching for something fragrant, something fresh to kind of fill in that void of the relationship. And I guess that's where this kind of started, right? I can't believe people are calling this man Obama. Y'all are married? Wait, she in a relationship too? There's nothing but scumbags in here. Or excuse me, nothing but imperfect human beings. No human being is perfect. Okay. What is she trying to say with this? Because we can have this type of conversation if you want. No, she's trash. She immediately just become unattractive to me. Like she went from like 100 when I first saw her to after that question 0. I can't do it. No sir. I guarantee you. Here's the thing. Here's the thing I'm kind of sensing from this, and this is maybe not from what the show is trying to tell us, but I have a grand sense from when people do this, in real life that if they were single, they wouldn't be talking to each other. It's the fact that they're in relationships and this situation is happening. They kind of have this uncanny urge to do so because the opportunity presents itself. Whose place is this? This is highly inappropriate, bro. But you made your own bed. You made your bed. You can sleep in it. I don't think. I'm willing to think they have like a little bit of chemistry with each other, but in terms of like interests, I don't think there's anything there. And I think we saw that from like when they first met each other. All right. Shit, it came up. Wow. Do you know why he left her? Is that too deep to talk about? Are you, I guess he just doesn't care about the rest of the story. Not like how I do. I feel like that was foreshadowing the infidelity, or maybe it wasn't infidelity. He just left, right? Growing up in a single parent household, how that would affect you and your view towards relationships going forward. The reason why you're hitting on a married man. Oh, did he leave? Oh, he gonna come back. Watch. No, never mind. Liar. Mm-hmm. If there's one thing you have to learn about women, ladies and gentlemen, any men out there listening to this, women are, see, like she already knows, women are perfect at sniffing out when something is unusual or something is wrong, something that distracts the flow of space around them. They can pick up on that better than any other creature, any other man, anything in the world. So when they know, they know. And then when they have suspicions about something, they have something, they're feeling in their gut, they know. Best thing to do is just to be honest with them. Something real? What are you talking? Y'all never had what? Bro, listen to your friend. See, that was the problem with Darby in season one. She had shit friends who gave shit advice. I'm trying to see what type of advice he's about to give. Bro, you can find any woman in New York that looks good. You can find any woman, Asian, black, white, whatever. You can find them. You in New York, right? The problem is the thing you have to think of. Why does she want you when you told her that you're married? Think about that. Very rarely, and I mean very rarely, do both parties leave their significant others to be with each other because they love each other. Very rarely does that happen. All right, well, it ain't her. It ain't her. That's the problem. And that's one thing I forgot to say too. Any insecurities that the person is going through that forces them to cheat on their partner, it is never the partner's fault, ever, in cheating. It doesn't matter if they're working too much, not spending enough time, whatever. It's never their fault. Good advice. Cut it off. Shut it down, bro. Yeah, shut it down. Shut it. Yeah, you married. You know how many men would love to have a woman that does nothing but come home? Dude, I thought an email popped up on my screen. I'm going home. Why are you calling me? Bro, he's just going through a midlife crisis right now. This is the one thing I wish that I could be like a ghost or some type of spiritual being that I can just oversee people live their lives, you know? Just see them go through situations and them gaining knowledge through wisdom of things they do right and things they do wrong. I would love that, you know, like the Watcher and Marvel stuff. Amari Stoudemire? Amari Stoudemire? All right, dog. What's up? What's Steve Nash up to? What does he feel bad about? She told you she had a dude. I would have reacted the same way too. Yeah, told you to go home, bro. Looking like a sucker. You did risk everything. Now your girlfriend knows. Shut up and take your L. He's not acting crazy. All these human emotions are absolutely normal to feel. What's up? What? Mm-mm-mm. Let her read it. Let him read it. All you can do is just let her read it. If anything, this is a blessing that this is happening because now you guys are forced to have this conversation about why you feel this way because you wouldn't have had it otherwise. It's not your fault. Time for y'all to have the conversation. All right, that's the episode. Ended a little bit on a cliffhanger, which is good for a pilot. Um, yeah, so there is a lot of again. I feel like this episode needs to just be called insecurities. Besides Mia Hines, right? I feel like this episode just talks a lot about it's a special guest, Anna Kendrick. Yeah, she's a special guest. Zoe Chow. She's been in a lot of stuff as of recently. But anyway, I feel like this episode talks about a lot of insecurities that the main protagonist had that us as an audience weren't aware of. Am I right? We wasn't aware that he had these insecurities. We weren't aware that one, that he was married. That wasn't like the first thing that they told us. Am I right? Because I was kind of questioning. I'm like, what type of relationship do they have? Because this is a little weird. Because this has to be a relationship, right? Then it turns out they're married. They do not operate as a married couple. That's first and foremost. And that's not to say that in America you have to operate a certain way, have a certain routine, this and that, and the third. I'm saying as a married couple, as a relationship couple, they don't even communicate with each other. They don't. We hardly see them do things with each other, which is fine. There are certain couples that like their own space and they just do little things together at the very end of the day or right at the beginning of the day or whatever works for them, But it seems like the main problems he had with the marriage, in his marriage, were communications, quality time, and a lack of fulfillment, which are all three things that he can look within himself to figure out why can you not find those three things within the marriage, right? Because it's like his friend said, who gave sound advice. His friend is already a way better friends than what Darby had. Oh, Darby's friends were absolute trash. He gave sound advice, with not only saying just drop the whole thing, go back to your wife, right? But two, it's oh God, what did he say? I don't know, not just bug on my words, but he basically just said go home to her and communicate. Just go talk to her. If there's something, if you feel like the marriage is dull, if you feel like you don't want to come home to her, if you feel like there's no reason to tell her what you're doing, then you more than likely shouldn't be in that relationship or in that marriage. Or two, you need to communicate that with your partner, that you feel that way, because clearly this is all new to her, right? This is all new to her. She has not felt the need to go talk to someone else. She has not felt the need to lose communication with you. She feels like she's communicating with you. But if you need more, then you need to project that onto her. Clearly, this is just, again, I love that this show brings out so many conversations, but the execution is just never on par, right? I felt like we should have seen a little bit more of a backstory with this protagonist, right? I feel like we don't need to spend the first 7 minutes looking at Darby and her wedding with Magnus. We've seen that. We know what happens with that, right? Anna Kendrick, get out of here. You had your chance, right? Let us focus on this character. Let us figure out why his marriage came to this way, right? It seems like his marriage is very, what's the word? Very ordinary, right? Very simplistic. I feel like if the movie Pleasantville with Tobey Maguire, if that movie was a marriage, it would be that. Same thing every day. Look the same every day, say the same things to each other every day, same routine, right? But it seems like the wife is completely fine with that. If he has a problem, again, he needs to project that, or he needs to communicate that with his partner. And I feel like anyone could have seen this coming, right? Anyone could have saw this coming. Like Mia Hines, obviously she don't care about you, bro. Everyone saw that, right? Like, dude, first off, you two have nothing in common. You two never in the once of your friendship, because that's what it was, a friendship, have ever talked about anything serious, right? You never talked about anything serious. You never talked about anything profound. You never did anything. And then when a situation did come up where you could talk about something serious, you deflect it, right? You didn't want to get serious with her because I guess subconsciously that reminded you of your marriage, and you wanted to bring that back down to earth, right? Or not down to earth, excuse me. Maybe bring it right back up to the sky, into the clouds, and talk about whatever can make you feel happy, what can give you this type of high moment at that given time. I feel like Mia Hines, she's gonna be really forgettable for this season, like the character. I think this episode, I mean, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm gonna give it a 7. I do feel like the dialogue was way off. I feel like someone who, actually, let me see this. I need to see who wrote this, because it feels like someone who is white wrote this. They wrote these black characters. That's just me, though. That's just me thinking that. I'm probably way off with it. That's probably way off. Why should it be the same white guy writing for these black characters? Story editor. Anyone who's a story editor, it means they co-wrote it. So there's a lot of different writers. Edited by, music by, managers, blah, 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 blah. Costume design. Okay, I'm going to have to go to the beginning of the episode to see this, maybe. Or maybe not. Okay, hang on. I'm going to IMDb this real quick. I'm going to IMDb this. What is this episode called? Mia Hines. And this is going to kind of prove what I'm going to say, and I'm going to lead this episode review. It really does seem like Love Life episode Mia Hines. First off, it definitely seemed like a white dude wrote this episode, and for that the dialogue fell flat. It seemed a little bit forced. It seemed a little bit unrealistic for a black man in his 30s living in New York, who has a job like he has, to conversate in this way with certain people, and to not be sure of who he is as a black man, and what people in America see him as. What kind of black man is he portrayed as? That, for him to be his inferior complex, to go through that situation now in his 30s, is extremely, I'm not going to say it's rare, but it's very uncommon, right? I feel like for majority of black people in America, that am I Uncle Tom? Am I this? Do people look at me as a menace to society as a black man? All that stuff, you will go through that during your teen years, mostly through your early 20s, and then throughout your late 20s too. But by the time you reach your 30s, you should already know how America feels about you, being a black man or a black woman, or just being a minority in this country. So there is no like, oh, what do you see me as? Like, what do you think people see you as? You're going to get a different answer depending on the person, depending on their social, or excuse me, depending on their economic status, and depending on their social status. So that's number one thing that kind of threw me off with this episode. Let's see, who wrote this episode? Sam Bolyd. Sam Bolyd. Isn't that writer 7? No. Oh, he wrote a movie, but no, isn't this him? Producer 2020. I think this is him. I think this is that white guy who wrote the first season of Love Life. There's a bunch of other writers credited though. Let's see, Rachel R. Williams. Okay, it's a black woman. And Marion Bain. Then another black guy. Okay. And then story editor. Oh wait, okay, he's story editor. This black guy's a story editor. A black woman, along with Sam Bolyd, wrote the episode. Yeah, you couldn't. I don't think you can persuade anybody or any black person to say that this is written by a black crew, or written by a black person. it definitely feels tainted. It definitely doesn't feel authentic in that way, and for that reason, I'm correct because Sam Bolyd had a little bit to do with the writing, which is interesting, which is very interesting. You would think Sam, you would either let a woman write the show if it's made for women, or you would just let black people, a black woman or a black man, write the show since it is targeted towards that audience. Granted, that doesn't mean that any other race of someone cannot write this show for a certain race and cannot be universal to that. But I think it would resonate a little bit more if it was coming from someone who is black. Right? That's like saying, it's honestly like saying, what's a good example? I mean, you see it all the time, right? It's like any presidential election, right? When they want people to campaign with them or to endorse them, they'll look for certain celebrities, certain political figures of a certain race to pull in certain demographic audiences from certain states, from certain cities. I feel like it's the same with this. I don't know if they ever promoted it, saying like this, like we got some black writers writing this, but at the end of the day, Sam Bolyd still has his fingers on it, and he's still messing it up a little bit. So that's a little bit unfortunate. But all right, I'll leave it as there, and then we will get right into episode 2. So Starfighters, that was the Starfighter full episode review. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you like this episode? Do you hate it? Let me know what you think. But until then, victory or death, Starfighters.
Ring Tune C.